Welcome to the GKC Show. I'm here with Sam Whitaker, and we are going to talk about the very recent. Well, first of all, we're going to smash like buttons. We're going to subscribe. We're going to make comments and stuff like that and tell us what you think of the show. But you need
I
to
need
know that now.
a mannerism for this.
Yes,
After
perfect
last week.
mannerisms. You're right. So yeah, we're coming fresh off the heels of a GKC meeting in which there was a bunch of really cool stuff announced. But Sam, you are about to drop another bomb on us. We have breaking news, like
We do.
legit breaking news. Yeah, we're gonna have to get tickers. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out somehow.
Call Houdini. He'll help us out. So yeah, I'm reporting live on location from Cape May, New Jersey. And so last night, I think I posted a little bit about this in the GKC Lounge. I was guest lecturing at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. They have their inaugural Web3 NFT course, and 25 students. They're awesome. They're super engaged, super excited. And I met the professors at NFT NYC a few months ago, and I've been kind of helping out a little bit with how they're going to set up the syllabus. And they're all building their projects on Hedera,
So
which
awesome.
a lot of people in the GKC are going to like. And last night, they actually announced I held a Twitter space. It was a little bit of a cluster, but it turned out okay. Apparently, the announcement went out last night via the Twitter space that Jordan and some representatives from NFT.com are going to be coming to FIT in October to do a presentation to the students. They have a auditorium reserved, so it's going to be campus wide, not just for the students that are taking this course. So personally, for me, this was like a no-brainer to be able to do this, to try to get the word out about Web3 in general, and especially Hedera. I think we're all on board with getting to mass adoption, and the quickest way to do that is to educate people and get interested people and talented people on board creating in Web3. So it's an amazing opportunity for me to teach these students, and amazing opportunity for NFT.com to reach out and talk a little bit about what we're all doing in the GKC and how that's going to shake out. So yeah, I can't wait to be a part of all that. It's a really, really cool thing that's happening.
I got to sit in on the class on Twitter Spaces for an hour last night, and it was fantastic. There's a lot of really cool ideas in there. Your presentation was wonderful, and it was great to hear from the class what kinds of things that they're interested in. That's the university level student is a great target demographic for playing with a new technology that is going to explode in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I was actually surprised and happily surprised that I was expecting to go in and it would be a lot of design questions. People would be coming up with clothing designs and interior designs and things like that. But there were a lot of people who are more interested in utility to go along with that, with kind of startup community building, and how to build out more of Web3 than just kind of the artwork that it is now. I think that's massive for a design school, for kids to be already thinking on those levels. That's incredible.
Yeah, they didn't seem very exactly like you said. It wasn't designers coming to say, I have a design that I want to turn into an NFT. These are very much tech forward people who are looking to design for Web3. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of design that goes with it as well, which is fantastic. I mean, NFTs were born in art, and art's always going to be a big part of it,
Mhm.
especially as we move towards mass adoption of the metaverse. What your rooms look like and what clothes you wear and things like that. But to hear them talk about the utility, kind of unbidden talk about the utility before I even had a chance to bring it up, was really cool.
Yeah, well, so there's some debate within the GKC of design for the website, and so maybe this is an opportunity for the NFT.com team to sit down with the Design Institute and talk about what direction things should go in and stuff like that.
Yeah, aka cheap.
I'm jabbing a little bit NFT.com, but
Not at all, man.
we have
It's
yeah.
labor.
Yeah, I do. I personally like the new design. I think it's a nice, very welcoming feel to it. It's easy on the eyes. It's not super flashy. It gives you a sense of confidence and calm in what otherwise is a very, blinking, giphy type world.
Yeah, and I think that's, that kind of is a nice little segue into talking about the release and some of the things that
Yes.
Don was talking about on the call about the fact that NFT.com wants to be kind of the one-stop shop for everything that's going on in the NFT world. Whether it's trading your PFPs, or the utility or whatever it might be, NFT.com can hopefully position us as DAO members, position everybody to be kind of at the center of that. So I guess for those of you who haven't seen or listened to the update or read the recap yet, the big drop was that the this tomorrow at noon. Well, I guess it'll be yesterday at noon by the time this Thursday at noon.
It'll be about the time this drops.
There will be or was a drop adding market aggregators to your profile pages. So you'll be able to aggregate right now from OpenSea and LooksRare NFTs that are listed, and also to list, it sounds like, NFTs on OpenSea or LooksRare, or list your whole collection. It sounds like a really, really cool option. I think Mark and I were talking about this just before we started recording, how I think we all kind of had the thought that NFT.com was going to be a marketplace and that was going to
Right.
be, the first big drop. It sounds like that Dodd is very political when he's answering questions that he can't answer. He's really good at tap dancing around it. But he definitely didn't say that there would not be a bespoke marketplace on NFT.com. But I think what they're doing now is pretty cool and pretty smart in that, being kind of a one-stop shop where people come in, hey, I'm looking to buy from this collection. Let me check on NFT.com, see who's got it listed. Was it on OpenSea, LooksRare? Just go to one place, find it, buy it, and it's yours. I think it's a really good first step.
Well, I think it's important for collectors, or not collectors, but if you're going to go to NFT.com to look at people's profiles and collections, it's a great way to have a one-stop shop, right? But if you are a collector or an NFT creator, it's also going to be a great way to now get your NFT out to a bunch of different marketplaces really quickly and easily. I had made a comment within the GKC lounge during the meeting about this being the Hootsuite of NFTs. And I think that I don't know, maybe they can clarify, but and maybe I'm misunderstanding Hootsuite and what they do. But essentially, they're just aggregating the message that you want to put out onto Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any number of other social platforms. And people use it because we want to save time. If I'm going to create this message, I can create it once and blast it out to everyone. It sounds like the same thing with an NFT. Why not? I have this NFT collection. Why don't I just bring it to NFT.com and then it goes out to all the marketplaces and I don't have to worry about it because my listing's going to be the same on all the marketplaces anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, if it's a way to get eyes on NFT.com, it's a way to
Mm-hmm.
get people coming to NFT.com. And as it goes back to the minimum viable community. So when you have a community of people who are not only involved as we are, but a community of people who are using the system on a regular basis, then if you want to have a custom marketplace that you launch, all of a sudden these people are already there. So they say, okay, great, I'll list here as well. Or whatever number of releases come out with regard to our profile pages in the future. The more eyes we have on NFT.com, the more visitors, better it's going to be for all of us.
Another thing that I wonder about is whether doing it this way allows them to get other chains involved more quickly. In other words, right? So you've got Zeus Market on Hedera. If they had to write a back end for their own marketplace to also accommodate another platform, then that might be more difficult than just reaching out to the Zeus API and saying and making sure that everything's right and saying, okay, yeah, I also want my NFT to then go to Hashport to be wrapped in Hedera and then move its way over to the Zeus marketplace.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that yet, but yeah, it's a great. I mean, we're all
I'm
every.
going a mile a minute on like that, like the way that things are going right now. I feel like you got to keep up with it, or I should say, it's hard to keep up with it. It's really
It's
moving
impossible.
so
That was one
fast,
one of the first things I said in the class last night is that I'm not an expert by any
right?
means. Nobody is.
And if anybody tells you they're an expert, they're lying to you because they don't know the future, and there will only be futures, or there
Yeah,
will only be
there's
experts in
so
the
much
future.
happening every day, and you try to keep up on your little niche, and you can't even do that. So that's
Yeah.
why it's so important to collaborate and so important to be part of communities and hear what other people have to say. And yeah, that's hopefully what NFT.com will
Yeah.
become.
It's fast moving and fun. And speaking of fast moving and fun, you have your drop coming up pretty soon as well, right? I saw a tease
That is,
of Houdini. Then, by the way, that video that Houdini did is fantastic. It's wonderful.
yeah,
Houdini did it again. But yeah,
yeah,
sorry. Enough
we worked on
enough
that for like
kissing
a
his
week and a
ass.
yeah, we worked
Let's
on
talk about your project.
that. We worked on that video for like a week and a half. So yeah, over the next like it's actually next Friday we're doing the Genesis nut drop. And
Okay.
yeah, it's gonna be really cheap, 50 H bars.
Mm-hmm.
This is just exclusively community building
That is accessible.
for the project, and it's just fun, man. Doing a video about a peanut dressed up as an astronaut. It's how can you not have fun with
Right.
that? But yeah, so that'll be next Friday. Follow at Huddledy's Nuts for more information. Um, yeah, and it's funny because I don't think one of these calls has gone by where someone hasn't asked about when when HBAR.
Right.
It always comes up, so obviously they're aware of it, and so many of the executive team grew up at HBAR, so
Mhm.
it's coming down the road. But the more complexity you add, the harder it is to add more of these features. So
Well, and I think we're going to see very quickly the fruits of being in the Ethereum network, or being on the Ethereum network right now. When all of a sudden, when it's time to populate these profiles with purchasable NFTs, it really is the only pool to draw from to get a significant volume of product into the network.
yeah, and I think just by kind of being long sighted and or having foresight and kind of eschewing profits at the moment, because that was why I asked the question of Don that I did if NFT.com was acting as some kind of a middleman for the transaction, and he said no, it's essentially just an opportunity to see what's out there, and then you go to LooksRare or you go to OpenSea to purchase your NFT. So there would have been an opportunity for NFT.com to grab a little piece of that and have a little transaction fee that's associated with it just for having the listing. But by putting that aside and focusing more on the actual transaction volume and the number of people who are visiting the site, I think that's a great way to look at it and a great way
Yeah.
to grow.
I'm going to use the word syndicate right now because I can't think of the actual word that I'm looking for. But it wouldn't surprise me if OpenSea and NFT.com or OpenSea winds up with an agreement to utilize their API where they give a percentage of whoever the syndicate is that's selling the thing for them. In other words, whoever is the
Like
portal
an,
to get them
like,
through to the sale.
like an affiliate link
Affiliate,
almost.
that's the word I'm looking for.
Um, yeah, it's possible. I think I don't know. I don't know if OpenSea maybe thinks that they just want to have the monopoly on everything at this moment. But yeah, I mean NFTs.com obviously has to establish itself in the space, but it helps to have a great domain name. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, it just dawned on me that in addition to the Hootsuite, that we could also be coming like the Priceline.com of, we're the aggregator of travel, and of every hotel brand participates because because that's where all the eyeballs are, because that's where it's convenient to go shopping for travel. So if the same thing is true for NFTs, I think NFT.com will definitely be successful then. They'll be able
Now,
to draw the eyeballs.
I'm not sure it did. Did Don say something? He said something about like a bulk upload.
Let me check
Would
those
that
real
mean
quick.
that you could bulk upload to multiple? Like, would you be able, like, if let's, or even just one NFT? Could you list it from NFT.com on both OpenSea and LooksRare?
Yeah,
I
I think
don't.
that's the whole point. I think you go into a, again, I haven't seen it and we'll know tomorrow, but I'm guessing that you go on to a page to, list your NFT, and then this is all the information about it, and check the boxes for each marketplace you want it loaded to. You'll probably have to put in some kind of a, you'll probably have to have your MetaMask linked to each one of those accounts that you're going to list on first. I would imagine you probably can't list on LooksRare if you don't have a LooksRare account set up already.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna have to sign the transaction on LooksRare, but
Right.
still, if it was that simple, where starting with OpenSea and LooksRare and then adding others, that would be. But
He,
how cool would it be? How cool would it be, like, to add the functionality where, use, like you said, using Hashport, where you could take your Ethereum NFTs and wrap them and then list them
right.
on Looksrare, Zeus Market, and
Right. I think that that's coming. I think that's quite a ways away, but I think that that seems to be the ultimate vision, is that it these NFTs, it doesn't really matter what platform they're on. And that's where NFT.com is positioning themselves, so that it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You're going to go to the one place to get NFTs, which is NFT.com, and then again aggregates out to wherever it needs to.
to get to mass adoption, that's going to be how it is across the board. People, I'm sure we've talked about this before. People aren't going to care what layer one they're on. They just want
Right.
to do something. They want to buy an NFT. They want to sell an NFT. They want to access their medical records or whatever it is. They don't care if it's on Hedera or Ethereum or Solana. They just want it to happen. They want it to happen quickly. So, kind of thing for this chain agnostic and really almost chain blind transactions is, that's where it's at for the future.
And while I'm excited about this, us having access to marketplace listings, I'm still more excited about the stuff that you were talking about, where it's like not healthcare records in particular, but NFTs as use cases for other access. Excuse me. Ooh. What was I just saying?
Uh,
NFTs as access to different portals and credentialing and all that kind of stuff. I'm interested to see how NFT.com accommodates those different kind of use cases. For example, you have Kevin O'Leary, who's got his watch use case. I am very interested to see how they build a framework out to support that vision of tokenizing, um, the fact that a watch was inspected or whatever they have to do with a watch. I don't own any fancy
yeah,
watches, so I'll never be in that situation. Shouldn't
I
say
don't
never
think.
be in that situation, but I'm currently not in the situation where
Yeah,
I
I don't
need
think you
to.
need to tokenize your Timex, but
No, exactly. My swatch.
um, yeah, I think somebody actually had one of the students had a question about that last night. She works in jewelry design and talking about tokenizing the provenance of a diamond, for instance,
Mhm.
to prove, or especially with lab grown diamonds. Proving where it come from, when it was created. If it's a real diamond, make sure that it was ethically sourced and not a conflict diamond, and all of those things, and how you associate the NFT to that real world thing.
Mhm.
I mean, it's already happening. It's happened with baseball cards is a
Yeah.
great example. I talked about that last night. Well, that's PSA, the baseball card grading company, is already doing it. Yeah, I mean, we all know it's going to be everywhere. It's just a matter of we don't know how it's going to turn out, but I think that's one of the things the team at NFT.com is doing, is kind of positioning themselves. So no matter how it turns out, they'll be there.
Yeah. I was thinking earlier today about not to go directly back into Hedera, but was thinking about the LG TV use case where they have their Walipto or whatever the hell that thing is called. I think it's a terrible name for a wallet, but and I get it. It makes sense. Companies, then they sit down, they're like, wallet, crypto, wallipto. Like some big brain marketing going on there. Um, but I was thinking about a potential use case for something like that, where it's like, okay, so you've got kids and you want to give them access to be able to watch stuff on TV, but you want to dictate what they're able to watch. I was wondering if you could like tokenize access into content. So my kid has, they have their iPad or a phone or an iPod Touch or whatever that, I don't even know if they make that thing anymore. But whatever little device that they have that they can, have a crypto wallet on, or a Wallipto wallet installed on there, and then the parents can issue tokens for what they can watch. So, right, I'm a kid, and now I go and I watch that program. It records now that I watched that program. Token is now gone, and now mom and dad can decide whether or not they want to give their kid another token of something that they are allowed to watch.
Yeah, or even kind of like some form of like parental controls, and with this token, and I think all of this
Yeah, it's
comes
all.
back to some form of the soulbound token and some form of like biometric association of a token to a person. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, all that's a little, I don't know. It's got to be done right so that it's not taken advantage of. But it's a great opportunity to not only digitize, have personal control over your digital self, but also as a
Yeah.
parent be able to control what your kids see and how much they see.
I also think in there's the question of when to use a distributed ledger and when not to use a distributed ledger, or when to use NFTs and when not to use NFTs. And I can't remember who it was, but I remember hearing an argument from somebody who's in the distributed identification scene, and said that those things will not be on an NFT. They'll use like a Hedera token service, or they'll use a blockchain or a smart contract, but they won't necessarily be tokens themselves, because there are different kinds of security issues that might be involved with the tokenization of something versus just having a hash, a stamp on a specific action that took place, like a license was issued or a parking ticket was paid or something like that. Doesn't necessarily need to have an NFT attached to it. So I always try to be cognizant of, when am I trying to cram an idea into a technology? Like, is this something that will work with, as an NFT versus, is it even necessary to do it that specific way? And I think, right, for a lot of things, NFTs solve a real world problem, and distributed ledger solves a real world problem, and everything will touch it, but not everything will necessarily use it directly.
Yeah, or exclusively, and that goes
Right.
back to the whole Web3 versus Web 2.5 or 2.75, and we'll find that happy medium. But again, it all comes back to the fact that it's pretty obvious of how, and they say it, how NFT.com is trying to position themselves
Mm-hmm.
as the one-stop shop for all things NFT. So we see these sometimes we feel excruciatingly slow developments where we want Hedera, we want a marketplace, we want, and maybe and it seems like taking it slow and
Yeah.
methodical and thoughtful is going to be the right way to go.
Well, and I appreciate the thoughtfulness and methodicalness of everything that they're doing, but I also don't think that they're coming up with all of this stuff on the fly. I don't think they're building while they're flying as much as maybe it appears. As each one of these updates come out, the picture starts to get a little bit, a little bit higher resolution, and you can tell that behind the scenes they had this. I feel like they had a good amount of this framework already in place and are just slowly kind of revealing it, which uh, is the right way to do it, right? Because it allows you to make some adjustments to what it is that you had planned. But I think they had a lot of this structured in advance. It'll be fun to hear in a year or two from now how much of the stuff was developed during the process and how much of it they brought to the table from the very beginning and just didn't disclose.
That's interesting. I think we should challenge the team to tokenize their roadmap right now, uh,
Right.
completely encrypted, and then they can show it to us, put it essentially a time capsule for
Right.
5 years from now, and then we can look back and see how much of it they actually did and how much they had to pivot on.
That's right. I forget that we still don't like there still is no roadmap to say to speak of in particular. So I guess everything is still kind of more behind closed doors and curtains than
And
what
that's
we're,
okay. I
which is
mean,
fine,
it's
right? I have no problem with it. I have no beef with it. I think it's great the way that they're doing things, and right, you don't want to put all your cards out on the table right away because then it makes it very easy for people to copy you.
and that's I think that's a great we can finish off with the bloodbath yesterday of Web23 versus Hashgraph.name.
Oh my God. Like,
What
yeah. So
a
I,
cluster.
yeah, I'm actually going to be doing a phone call with Dell from Web23. We had set something up to talk about my project in kind of Web23 and stuff that we might be able to do together. But yeah, and then I'm like, oh, am I even gonna have this call now? They've got so much stuff going on.
He's
Like
got a bit
everybody's
of-
fixing stuff and meeting with people and rearranging things and
I
trying
mean,
to
I
figure
feel
out big
feel
problems.
like
So I don't
it
know
was like
my
2 months ago, I was on a webinar that, Dell and the Web23 people were doing and talking about the HBAR domains, and it was like, "Okay, get on the email list and you'll be notified," and all that, and then it was, like, supposed to be noon yesterday, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose.
no,
And,
but did you get anything
so I
or
got
anything you're
apparently
willing to disclose? I should say that.
yeah, so I got D's nuts, I got Hodl D's nuts, and
Yeah.
I got Fabric with both a C and a Q, and I got and I have in my wallet NFT.HBAR, but I believe it's a copy, but I don't know though because
You don't know
apparently
if
there
it's
were
the
two
actual.
issues. But yeah, so but I have it in my wallet. It's NFT.HBAR
And
sitting there.
did you get it as registering it, or did you get it secondhand market through
No, I got it.
Zeus? Oh,
Yeah, I
then
read.
yeah, that should definitely be. I would worry a little bit if I had gotten it from Zeus early on, and maybe I wasn't in the right token ID, and somebody had set up a fake.
I registered it, but there were some people were talking. I was in New York last night, so I still haven't had time to catch up on everything. But they
Yeah,
were talking about some .h bars that have been that were registered multiple times on the
uh,
Hashgraph name website. So I don't know,
yeah,
but it's in my wallet right now, and it's not going anywhere as far as I'm
there you go.
concerned.
Well, more power to you if you get to keep it, because that's an awesome, yeah, that's an awesome .h bar. I did pick one up for Tangle of Words, so I have Tangle.h bar. I don't know if I guess I'll probably use it for payments at some point or something like that.
So Jordan NFT.HBAR.
Yeah, call me. Awesome. Well, I think that wraps up the show. And actually, I don't know if you heard the ringing, but that was my wife calling me, and my son has a cross country meet that I have to jump out to. So I appreciate you doing the call.
It's cross
Right
country. You just have
in
to be there at the end, right?
what's that? Yeah, I just have to be there for the finish line.
Give them leave, they go off into the woods.
I was
And
there the whole time, son. I was cheering you on. I had pictures. Just show him a picture from like a previous meet. He's like,
then, that's not what I'm wearing. Yes, it is. In the car.
that's funny. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Sam. It was great chatting with you again. And to everybody out in GKC and NFT.com land, we will see you in the lounge and on the socials. And like, comment, do wonderful things with buttons. And we will
All the above.
appreciate you. We do
Yeah,
appreciate you. Whether or not you hit the buttons, we appreciate you for watching anyway.
we just appreciate you a little bit
Yeah,
less if you don't.
hit the button.
Just a little bit.